the king of the north!
I am the dragon's daughter.
I want right. Does the wolf judge the lion?
Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with some juice to get you through the long night. So, Game of Thrones is happening. Like, it's happening. It's almost here. I can feel it in my veins. And I wanted to do this video for you guys. So this video is what I know so far and what I think is going to happen in Game of Thrones season 7 episodes 1 through 3. So I'll just be making some predictions. You can tell me if you think I'm right. You can tell me if you think I'm wrong. I'll probably be a little bit of both, somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure. I'm not keeping score or anything, but just let me know in the comments what your predictions are for the first 3 episodes of season 7. Episode 1 is titled Dragonstone. It's 59 minutes long and it's directed by Jeremy Podeswa. The synopsis of this episode is that Jon organizes the defense of the North, Cersei tries to even the odds, and Daenerys comes home. So I think this episode might start off like this. So sometimes we get this sneak peek kind of thing. It's like an opening before the opening credits. One time it was the prologue of Game of Thrones with the 3 rangers that were killed by the White Walker. And once it was Tywin melting down ice. We've gotten it a couple times, but we don't get it every time. So there's been a lot of focus, right, on the Night King. All this off season, it's been a lot of Night King promo, Night King this, Night King that, and winter actually being here. So I am hoping that this soft opening, or whatever film people call it, if we get one, that it will be a shot north of the wall of the Night King. And I think it would reiterate to all people watching that shit is not a game and it's about to get real. Winter is here. Then after all that, I'm hoping that after the credits, we see Daenerys pulling on to the shores of Dragonstone. I think it will be a very emotional episode. We have followed Daenerys from being a Dothraki bride that she didn't want to be, losing her husband and son, no family, dreaming of a house with a red door, becoming a conqueror of Slaver's Bay, mother of dragons, and now we finally get to see her arrive at her ancestral home. I know I'm gonna get emotional. I've been waiting for this moment since season 1. I think it may be quite long and drawn out. Like, we'll be seeing Dragonstone while she's far out at sea, and Tyrion or Varys may drop some knowledge to her as they're getting closer. And then we'll see them actually getting closer than actually touching the sand and opening the doors, tearing down Stannis' banner and seeing the chamber of the painted table and touching the table, touching everything, seeing her throne room. But Daenerys has been told by Viserys stories of Dragonstones, stories she's heard all her life, and now she's finally home. It's gonna be overly emotional, and I will be posting reactions all through season 7, and I will be probably snotty-nosed and crying like a little bitch. So when we move north, I think Jon definitely has to get the North in order. The North is the first line of defense against the White Walkers. I think he will send ravens or riders to all northern lords, granting them safe passage to Winterfell. I also think he may send ravens to other great houses of Westeros. And when he sends said ravens to the great northern lords, that could bring the Umbers and the Karstarks to Winterfell. I think Sansa will be there, as well as Littlefinger. I think we will get to see the word poisoning that Littlefinger is going to do to Sansa, and I think it may be in this episode that we see Brienne and Pod make their return as well. So we will probably get a meeting, kind of like what Robb had with the northern lords that are already in Winterfell, plus Sansa and Brienne and Littlefinger and Lloyd Royce probably as a representative to Littlefinger and the Vale. I also think Jon is going to need to make repairs to Winterfell itself. The Boltons fucked it up pretty good, and then 1-1 did a whole number on the gate, so that will need to be fixed. So he will probably have to get those plans in order. There's also empty castles on the wall that need to be manned. In the books, he's already started to garrison the castles on the wall. The Dreadfort also needs to be manned, so I think Jon will be making a lot of plans with empty castles, wildlings, and northern lords. When we go south, Cersei trying to even the odds, in my opinion, is simple. Whatever Daenerys has, Cersei will want to outdo. For instance, Daenerys has the carved map of Westeros. And when we see Cersei in the trailer, she has a big ass map on the floor of the Red Keep. Daenerys is going to have dragons. That must mean that Cersei will be commissioning tons of wildfire. She will have the alchemist working overtime, and Qyburn as well on something that might take out a dragon or more zombie soldiers. He's going to be in those dungeons working tirelessly. I also think she needs more men, so she might have to hire sellswords, possibly even the Golden Company. She will replace Tommen's Kingsguard with her own Queensguard, and of course stack the small council with people that she thinks is loyal to her. I think we may get some of Cersei's Feast for Crows stuff, which makes me wonder if Cersei will really make an alliance with Euron Greyjoy, because she is adamant about not working with him in the books. She says she has no intention of climbing in bed with those sorry pack of squid. I mean, when she does say that, Daenerys isn't in Westeros and a Stark hasn't been named king in the north, so maybe at that time she has a few more options of rebuilding the royal fleet, but she won't have those options right now. And Euron has ships, so yeah, Euron and Cersei really may be a thing. I'm not sure, but it won't happen in episode 1. So I think Cersei's gonna have a lot of explaining to do. She's gonna have to explain herself to Jaime. She's gonna be strategizing. She's not gonna just roll over and die. She's gonna fight back, and she's gonna come. She's gonna bring it. So if you think that Daenerys has these 3 dragons and all these men and it's gonna be easy, it's not. So we will also probably see Arya wearing Walder Frey's face, serving up the gift of death. I would like to see some Sam at the Citadel, but I don't think we will see him until episode 2. I mean, we're working with limited episodes here. I also think we might catch Bran and Mira north of the wall, but probably not crossing the wall until episode 2. I actually think we could get a flashback, a very important flashback, very early on in episode 1. I think we could get something pertaining to the White Walkers. If they had to show us the White Walkers, because winter is here. Next, we have episode 2, and it is called Stormborn. Stormborn is 59 minutes long. Stormborn will be directed by Mark Malloy. The synopsis says that Daenerys receives an unexpected visitor, Jon faces revolt, Tyrion plans the conquest of Westeros. So looking at the title of the episode Stormborn, it gives us a big clue: storms. So it says that Daenerys will receive an unexpected visitor. There are a lot of people it could be, but due to the title of the episode Stormborn, I think it could have to do with Euron. Maybe Euron is going to stop past to visit Daenerys at Dragonstone before he heads to King's Landing. Euron says, "I am the storm," and in the trailer we see Euron's ship in darkness with lightning cracking in the sky. So during this sea battle, he will take Yara and Ilaria and the Sand Snakes and head to King's Landing. I actually think he could be in King's Landing by the end of this episode, parading the Sand Snakes through King's Landing and presenting them to Cersei. I also think we're going to get one of the Sand Snakes tied to the front of Euron's ship while it arrives at King's Landing. In the trailer, they cut the ship off just before we see the front, but this is something we know Euron to do in the books, so it could happen. If the unexpected visitor isn't Euron, then maybe it's Aegon. I'm still holding out that we get Aegon. It could be Melisandre. It could be something as simple as Olenna Tyrell. But really, it could be a host of people. Maybe even someone Cersei sends to parlay on her behalf. But anyway, this episode being 59 minutes long is the same amount of time as the Battle of the Bastards episode from season 6. There's time for the sea battle, the meeting on Dragonstone, Euron getting to King's Landing, and presenting the Sand Snakes to Cersei. So in the synopsis, it says that Jon is facing a revolt. I think it's going to be Jon and Davos versus Sansa and Littlefinger. We know from casting news that Alice Karstark was casted, and so was the heir to the last hearth. Now we know Sansa is upset with the Umbers because they gave Rickon to the Boltons. Sansa said in season 6 the Umbers can hang. and she probably feels that Karstark's betrayed Robb. Then they just were fighting under the Bolton banner, so Jon doing the whole kumbaya shit is probably not anywhere remotely close to what Sansa wants to hear. And Littlefinger will use that rift to his complete advantage. Plus, the Umbers really hate the wildlings. Well, actually, a lot of the people in the north hate wildlings. But in the books, Alice Karstark marries a wildling, and a wildling becomes heir to the Carhold, or Lord of the Carhold. So if that plays out, it may make some of the northern men restless, and it might make them begin to look for a better option other than Jon. With Littlefinger whispering his poisons in Sansa's ear and disgruntled Northmen pissed about wildlings and Jon's decisions, it will be a gas pit waiting for a match. I do think this will be the episode we get the meeting in the Great Hall with Jon giving his speech from the trailer to all the Northern Lords. I think at some point different folks will voice their opinion, but it will lead to the exchange between Littlefinger and Jon in the crypts of Winterfell. However, I do think this episode will start off in the chamber of the painted table with Daenerys and her allies staring at the map of Westeros. Some serious season 2, 3 type of shit, Stannis scenery, everyone sitting around the painted table. I think Tyrion will send out ravens and emissaries to rally houses to Daenerys' banners. There are still Targaryen loyalists in Westeros. He just has to find out which houses those are. I also think episode 2 will give us our first glimpse into what's going on at the Citadel. And there's actually quite a lot of interesting things going on at the Citadel. We have Sam and Gilly there, clearly reading up on some prophecy, Azor Ahai to be exact. We have Marwyn the Mage and his glass candles, and then we have Jaqen. In the books, Jaqen is at the Citadel as Pate with Marwyn the Mage, and it was reported by the Balkan Insight back in August that Tom Wallachia will actually be on screen in season 7, so be on the lookout for him at the Citadel. I also think in this episode we will get Arya at an inn. Ed Sheeran will be there singing, and I think the song he will be singing is about the Battle of the Bastards, and this will prompt Arya to return home, to return north, and so her journey begins north. But this Stormborn episode will definitely be the sea battle, the meeting between Cersei and Euron, and that possible alliance. Going into episode 3 is a little bit longer than episodes 1 and 2, and it's called The Queen's Justice. It's 63 minutes. Daenerys holds court, Cersei returns a gift, and Jaime learns from his mistakes. So I do believe Jon will be in Dragonstone at the onset of this episode. I would love to see White Harbor. I would love to see Jon getting on the ship and all of that. And while I think that is possible, I think that might be one of the things that they're going to cut out this season. The actual paths of how people get where they get. I think we may just cut to different scenes and see people where they're supposed to be at least near where they're supposed to be. So the length of this episode is 63 minutes, so it's more along the lines of season 6, episode 10, Winds of Winter, and that episode was actually 68 minutes, so it's 5 minutes shorter than that, but 4 minutes longer than the Battle of the Bastards. So the Queen's Justice tagline is referring to both Daenerys and Cersei. I believe Daenerys will hold court and receive Jon in Davos. I think the words from Daenerys in the trailer about her being born to rule the 7 kingdoms, I think it's an exchange between her and Davos. And I think Davos is saying it doesn't matter what skeleton sits on the Iron Throne. I think that is Davos talking to her as well. I don't think Daenerys is going to be receptive to Jon. Daenerys is not from Westeros. She's probably never heard of the White Walkers or the Long Night. All of this is foreign to her, and she doesn't trust people as it is. If you think about it, like, people that are from Westeros think the Long Night is a joke, so someone from Essos probably thinks it's even more ridiculous. But I think this is where Jon might also meet the dragons. I also think it might be Jon that Daenerys is trying to intimidate with Drogon in the trailer. In the synopsis, it says that Cersei returns a gift. Now, there were different ways I was looking at this gift, But after some thought, I thought back on Aegon's conquest and Daenerys, and I was taking into consideration everything that's going on within the story. I think Daenerys might offer Cersei the same gift she offered the wise masters of Yunkai: her life and the life of all her allies if she bends the knee. Cersei's reply to Daenerys' gift will be the same reply of the last Storm King during Aegon's conquest: cutting off the hands or heads of the Sand Snakes and Yara and sending them to Daenerys on Dragonstone. She would dispatch either half or less than half of her forces to Casterly Rock immediately, and Casterly Rock will be taken in episode 3. They will probably be presented to Daenerys at court, and her answer will be the siege of Casterly Rock. Cersei's justice will be killing the Sand Snakes and sending their body parts to Daenerys, and Daenerys' justice will be her answer to the injustice. This is also the episode I think Arya will be continuing her move north and she encounters Nymeria. I think Nymeria will save her from something. Not sure what, but those shots of Arya in the trailer and she's alone in the wilderness, it creeped me the fuck out. She's the lone wolf, but not really, because Nymeria will be there to save her with her pack. I think somewhere along her journey north, she might bump into the Brotherhood, and we could get a reunion of Arya and the Hound. I think this episode will focus a lot of time on Jon and Daenerys because everyone and their mamas have been waiting on this moment. I actually think Bran might be in Winterfell by this episode, or if not this episode, then definitely by episode 4. And whenever he gets there, it will start the unwinding of Littlefinger. I could be right, I could be wrong. These are just my predictions. We won't know what's going to happen until it happens. But anyway, I'm hype. I'm turned up to the max. This week, I will be dropping as much juice as I can, and I will be going live on Friday to answer questions and chit chat and provide juice. If you need more juice, I have a free trial to Audible in the description box. Your first book will be free. I suggest to read Feast for Crows, read some of Cersei's chapters, and check out where her mind is when she thinks she's in power. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.